afternoon, Chairman Mainshine and members of the committee. I would like to recognize Senator Rubio for her incredible work and ongoing commitment to keeping victims safe from abuse and for leading the efforts in family court reform. I also want to thank the many co-authors from both the Senate and Assembly who courageously support Senate Bill 331, Peaky's Law. I am here today as a constituent, a mother, a veteran of the United States Army, a former elementary school principal, but most importantly, I am here as an advocate for children who suffer at the hands of an abusive parent. Senate Bill 331 is named after my son, Peaky, who was brutally murdered by his father in April of 2017. Peaky's father suffocated him in the backseat of his vehicle as my son slept, strapped into his car seat after spending the day at Disneyland. In a recent documentary released about my son's murder, his father described in detail how much my son struggled as he covered Peaky's face with a sweater. My ex-husband then drove for 2 hours with Peaky's lifeless body and then proceeded to dump him in a heavily wooded area in Santa Barbara County. My son's whereabouts was unknown for 71 days until his father confessed to the murder, which, according to homicide detectives, was his final act of revenge for me wanting a divorce. During his confession, Peaky's father stated, "I wanted my son to have the best last day of his life." My son was 5 years old when he took his last breath. And during my divorce proceedings, I fought hard to protect my son. I documented in writing to the court that I feared for our safety, described my ex-husband's erratic and abusive behavior, and provided supporting evidence. I also filed for restraining orders, subpoenaed law enforcement officers to testify, and requested sole custody with supervised visits. Peaky was fearful of his father and repeatedly begged, "Please don't make me go, Mama." I am still haunted by the thoughts and feelings of betrayal that ran through my little boy's head when I forced him to go. Despite all of my efforts, my pleas were ignored. The restraining orders, sole custody, supervised visits were all denied. The horrendous decisions made by the judges who presided over my case empowered my ex-husband to methodically plan and execute the murder of my only child. The provision in this bill that I would like to address relate to the training programs to be established by the Judicial Council. Targeted training for judges is not only needed, it is essential. Judges are often assigned to family court without proper training or depth of knowledge needed to make informed decisions related to domestic violence, child abuse, and other complex topics in family law. The first judge who presided over my case was appointed to the bench in 2012 after practicing 28 years of complex business litigation in private law firms. Ironically, the second judge also had 28 years of business litigation. Both judges had zero experience in family law, but were still assigned to oversee complex family matters and make decisions that ultimately devastated lives. High-quality training has a direct impact on productivity, performance, and effectiveness. It increases an individual's skill set and empowers them to do a good job. I cannot think of a profession where an individual is not required to complete training prior to a license renewal. In California, physicians are required to complete 50 CME hours every 2 years to renew their medical license. When I was a teacher, I had to complete 150 hours of professional development every 5 years to renew my credential. As an education administrator, I am required to renew both teaching and administrative services credentials, and in addition to that, I'm also required to complete annual training that focuses on child abuse and neglect, suicide prevention, harassment, and implicit bias. Family court is not the venue for on-the-job training. Asking family law judges to complete training is not an unreasonable request. Complex issues arise daily, and if we are to expect better outcomes, we must ensure judges are well prepared for the heavy lift that awaits them. My judges were not prepared for the complexities of my divorce case, and as a result of their decisions, many lives were destroyed. My son was brutally murdered by his father. My ex-husband is currently serving 25 years to life in prison for murder. My career as an elementary school principal ended. And ultimately, the sentence I received is life without my son. And the passage of Peaky's Law will obviously never benefit or protect my son, but it will keep other children safer from violence. And it is the right thing to do. I am no one special. I'm simply a mom who continues to honor and mourn her son. And so I ask each of you to reflect for a moment and ask yourself this question. If my child was murdered, what would I expect lawmakers to do to prevent something similar from happening again? And with that, I thank all of you for your time, and I humbly request that you support Peaky's Law. Thank you.